Not one, but 2 episodes of Season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen has finally come out. And in it, we get to see Yuta Akatsuki going ham against Itadori, talking down to Naoya, goddamn fisting Choso. He goes ham in these first 2 episodes. I don't know about you, but I was incredibly shocked to see 2 episodes. At the very most, I was expecting one kind of extended episode. To see 2 was a great treat, and I thought they did a really good job at doing a couple of table-setting episodes to build us up into what's to come. So, Yuta's, we all got introduced to Yuta Akatsuki in the movie, Jujutsu Kaisen 0. And we get a lot of lore dropped about him throughout the series. He's this super powerful second-year student who no one can beat, that has as much cursed energy as Gojo Sensei. And he's played up to be one of the most powerful characters in the show. Now, if you've read the manga, you obviously know what happens with his character arc. But for anime-only watchers, this is the first kind of proper introduction we get to him in the core series. Yes, we get the stuff in the movies. One of the best anime movies I actually reckon that there is. I thought they did an incredible job there. But to finally get to see him in the series properly fighting, I thought was phenomenal. A very nice contrast to the start of Season 2 that we got, where we saw Gojo and Geto when they were younger and, when they were, kicking about in Jujutsu High. So to see it start this season with Yuta and what he can do, I thought that was a really nice touch. And, I'm not going to do a full episode review of these two. I don't really tackle that on this channel. If you'd like, though, let me know down in the comments and we can go more in depth. But I just wanted to talk mainly about the battles that were going on, a few core details of the 2 episodes, and just Yuta himself. Because Yuta is a character that lots of people, and I think a little bit unfortunately as well with Itadori, lots of people kind of like Yuta as a main character better than Yuji. Now, let me know, what do you guys think? Do you reckon Yuta is a more compelling protagonist compared to Yuji? Yuji, at least from what I've been able to see in the community, seems to not have the hype that a lot of shonen MCs tend to have. Usually they're the most popular character, but he kind of seems like he's the 3rd or 4th most popular character in his series, which I think's a little bit of a letdown, because I actually quite enjoy Itadori as an MC. I feel like he's nice and refreshing for especially a shonen MC. I think he has a lot of Ichigo's characteristics of, Ichigo is a little bit more mature than the other big 3 shonen MCs. But then he also kind of has less of Ichigo's flaws in some way. I'm not saying he's a better character, but he's more realistic, I think, to his age bracket and coming into a world that he really knows nothing about. So I've always really enjoyed Yuji as an MC. And that's something a future video I think I will do. This is the first Jujutsu Kaisen content I think on this channel. I may have done one a few months back, but this is the first proper one, and I think I might do a video going into, is Yuji the real MC of Jujutsu Kaisen? But Yuta, the people that love him, and the fact that we get to see kind of MC versus MC, or pseudo MC versus real MC, I think is a really interesting start to the series. We know that Yuta loves, he prefers swordplay, he prefers trying to cut down his enemies, his opponents, that he picked up from Maki in their training. Almost blanked on a name there for a second. Jesus, Jack. But we also find out, for complete confirmation, that Yuta Akatsuki has more cursed energy than Gojo himself, which is a crazy feat. We do learn, of course, that because of Gojo's 6 Eyes technique, he can essentially use cursed energy limitlessly. But with Yuta, he has more cursed energy than Gojo. His swordsmanship is, up there to contend with someone like Maki, and he can enhance his physical strength to be at that Maki Yuji level. And we get to see that in great force in his fight with Yuji. They're fighting through buildings. Yuji's just trying to keep up, but Yuta's immense spiritual energy, Jesus Jack, immense cursed energy is so strong that it's making it almost impossible for Yuji to be able to read the direction of his attacks through his cursed energy. And We get some great scenes. The art is amazing in it. How we get to see Yuji blocking sword strikes with his feet and stuff like that. He kicks Yuta's sword out from under him and snaps it in two. He breaks it. But then we see Itadori. It was a great scene. The art was amazing with how they were able to, the motion of it, I should say, more so. Where Yuta kicks Yuji, he goes flying through a car, he bangs into one car, goes through the windscreen of another one, the side windscreen, and as he's doing it, he picks up like a combat knife from the car, turns around and goes to confront Yuta with the pocket knife. You know, we don't see Yuji pull out the weapons much, so to see him kind of get so desperate to have to rely on something like that was so cool. We get the appearance of Rika after so long. She gets summoned and she restrains Yuji immediately. And we see the sheer difference in power here. We see Yuji be able to kind of fight back a little bit. He is able to break Yuta's sword. But in terms of his strength right now in the story, he's just utterly powerless against Yuta. And Yuta both kills and saves him all in one moment. It's complete badassery of what Yuta's doing here. So he stabs him through the heart, kills him, and the moment his heart stops, he uses reverse curse technique to heal Yuji. Now he's doing this because, you know, this whole thing has just been an act. He wants to save Gojo's students because, you know, Yuta, like Yuji, he's all about his comrades and his friends. Even without meeting Yuji, he knows that if he's Gojo's student, that he's got to be a good guy. And he takes Gojo's words to heart about looking after them and protecting them, especially Yuji, because of the parallels that Yuji has with Yuta. Both were sentenced to be executed, both were housing monsters. At least, you know, it's a little bit more complicated in Yuta's case, but both were holding monsters that were making them a threat to everyone around them. Yuji is literally the 2.0 of Yuta. And to see, you know, that kind of come full circle where Yuta's able to not just fight against him. I kind of got the sense that he was even kind of slightly training Yuji in their fight. But then when he's able to kill him and then evidently save him from the higher-ups because they're going to fake Yuji's death again, yes, he's not just faked his death once, but also twice. So that was really, really great, and it made perfect sense in terms of the plot on why we're getting Yuji, you know, tucking him away and taking him to safety and declaring him dead. Everyone's out to get him in the Culling Games. Now, I won't get much into the Culling Games in this video. We'll keep it kind of just on these 2 episodes that we see. But not only did we have the fight with Yuta and Yuji, but we also had the fight with Choso and Naoya. I will probably pronounce his name completely wrong. I should have listened out to how they pronounced it. Let's just call him the new Zenin heir. Well, he's not the Zenin heir because he's trying to fight against Megumi, but the pseudo Zenin heir gets to fight Choso. This was probably, in terms of animation, the greatest fight out of the two of them. I personally preferred the stakes more in the Yuji versus Yuta. That was one I was really looking forward to seeing from the manga. But to see Choso being really outpaced and outmaneuvered by the Zenin, about how he's able to use like his father's technique and zip around the battlefield. I can never pronounce this word. Bear with me. The choreograph of the fight with all the motion of the punches, how the Zenin heir is just laying in to Choso. The art there was really great. They're underground subways and underground tunnels and stuff like that. They're fighting in, and it's going black and white. Choso's trying to activate his blood manipulation. He's piercing blood, but he's not being able to get the time necessary against the Zenin heir just because of how quick that he is. But we see that Choso is able to completely overpower him through a wide AoE blood manipulation attack, and it completely floods the tunnel. No matter how quick the Zenin heir is here, he's just getting out. What's the word? The AoE range of the damage is just too significant where no matter how far he runs, he's going to get swept by it. And that's what happens. And the art style of like the slashing waves of blood and causing Naoya to get completely, I'll call it flushed, but dunked away through all the blood. And, we see him standing up and he's all heavy. and he starts coughing up blood because of we know that Choso is a cursed painting, and the blood from Choso is unnatural for a normal human body, and we see the Zenin coughing it all up. He thinks he's poisoned, and Yuta ends up coming in and complete badass mode. He's just got done putting on this great show of beating the MC, an MC that just went on to beat Mahito before this. Like, Yuji's going at a quite absurd level of strength here, and Yuta's just completely taken him out, no diff, essentially. He appears before Choso, before he can even say anything, boom, just a disrespectful fist to the side of the face. Choso goes down, presumably unconscious, and he just looks down at the Zenin, and we just all know with how much he would hate the Zenin because everything they've done to Maki. We know that he just want to kill him so bad, but he knows that he plays a part here. He needs him to return back to base and let the head of the clans know that Yuji is dead. So he lets him go, but he's looking down on him, and that's really pissing off Naoya. I don't know why I keep trying, Jack. But the disrespect from Yuta here, especially because we know Yuta, he's not an arrogant guy. He's not condescending. But when it comes to the Zenin, he shows no mercy because of his affection for Maki. So I thought that was a great scene, seeing Yuta really put him in his place, and Nao especially, with how he talks about Maki, how he talks about his brothers and his whole clan. Like, this man is an arsehole. To see for him to get his comeuppance from Choso and then Yuta was really, really spectacular. In terms of what else happens in the show, I've got one big talking point I want to talk about, and that is a lot of negativity on the art of the first couple of episodes, which I'm just not understanding, but we'll get into that at the end. Yuji and Megumi have a great scene together. Lots of bromance going on. I imagine certain select members of the fan base are probably on Wattpad writing a few fan fictions about the two of them. But they had a great bromance here where Megumi says, like, I need your help here. I need you to help save me, save my sister, help fight with me in the Cullen Games. It's going to be alright. You're not going to hurt me. You're going to be able to control Sukuna. And it really gave Yuji the words of encouragement that he really needed to hear at this time, because he's shouldering all the weight of everything around him onto himself and turning himself into a bit of a martyr, which isn't Yuji's character. That's not what makes him tick. So for Megumi to really pull Yuji out of his shell, Megumi being like Yuji's closest friend, I thought was really beautiful. Their little scene about what happens with Nobara is, we see Yuji just clenching his fist, head down, just devastated about the news that he, thinks that Megumi has told him that Nobara has died. And to see the maturity with it, not to just run off the handle and blow a gasket, is just so nice and refreshing to see in essentially a shonen MC. So I thought that their introduction was really good there. When they go to see Tengen, we don't see anything really about Tengen, but we see what he looks like. And if you didn't know before, he's an alien-looking motherfucker. He looks really, really odd. Tengen is one of those characters where, his part to play in the story, I feel, is very kind of not ambiguous isn't the right word, but very hit and miss with certain fans. I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't think you're meant to be. But, he does bring, he's the most mysterious character in Jujutsu Kaisen at this time, up there with the main villain. So the fact that we're going to see more about him in the next episode will be really cool. But the callback to the movie of where, I'm forgetting, the Star Platinum vessel, I'm forgetting her name, she becomes friends with Gojo and Geto, and when Toji blows her brains out and we see all the blood all over the floor, that was a nice callback to the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, the first few episodes of Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So I thought that was really, really a nice callback. That's how Easter eggs should be done. That was done very elegantly, I reckon. But art in these first few episodes being shit and choppy, I don't understand this. Is it the greatest art that I've ever seen in anime? No, but it's only the first two fights. and these fights themselves aren't incredibly significant. Even though I love the Yuji and Yuta confrontation, they're not the tippity top fights that we're going to be getting in this season. They can't blow their whole budget, blow their whole load on the first fight. And even then, it's better animation than you'll see in nearly any anime. New age anime fans being so particular with the animation quality. I started watching anime in early 2000, like essentially 2010 exactly, pretty much. A lot of the stuff I was watching was then before that. So to see where animation has come, it's like I just consider it a privilege to be able to watch all these more new gen animes, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Vinland Saga, things like Dandadan and Frieren, Kaiju number 8, if that's the stuff you're into, and see where the art is now. Like, it has come leaps and bounds. And it's okay to still love, 90s and early 2000s art style. Like, I love that as well. But just to see the improvement of the animators and just how crazy that they can go is insane. So I think, if you're a fan and you're really, really criticizing the art style on these first 2 episodes, you're well within your right to do that. I'm not going to tell you what people should think, but have a little bit of perspective to consider where we are right now, and the first couple of episodes into a new season of a season that is going to be absolutely lit. I just reckon is quite, obnoxious. I dare say with it all. Because we get so much good art in so many different anime. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the forerunners of, peak art style. And if we just have a little bit of faith, and not even a little bit of faith, just looking at what we get to see now, the contrast with the black and white, the motion of the camera with how people are flying, how he picks up the combat knife through the window, how he kicks the sword, how Yuji kicks the sword and breaks Yuta's sword. Even just the subtle movement of Yuta punching out Choso. Like, this is great art in these 2 episodes, and anyone that says otherwise, then you just need to only watch, the 0.00.1% of anime that's, drastically better than this, because otherwise, this is peak animation here, and I don't really reckon it should be getting criticized. It's not, it's not a One Punch Man Season 3 type of thing. Despite anyone's thoughts on One Punch Man, I think it's pretty unanimous that that was a bit of a shocker in terms of animation. Same with the most recent season of Blue Lock, the still images slideshow. Like, those are examples of bad animation that I think can be taken in good faith. But something like Jujutsu Kaisen's first 2 episodes in Season 3, I saw no problem with it. I enjoyed it. I'm loving to see where we go next. In Season 3, so in Episode 3, I might make another video, might do a video on Yuji, on Gojo. I'm really in a Jujutsu Kaisen mood at the moment, so if that's the type of thing, expect a few more videos. We're doing daily videos right now, at the very most every 2 days sometimes, depending on work. But I've got a Demon Slayer video coming up. I've got a ranking the best speeches in anime video coming up. I've got videos I want to do on Sasuke Uchiha, videos I want to do on the White Fang of the Leaf, videos I want to do on a bunch of One Piece and Bleach characters. So many different things I want to do. We're putting it all on this one channel. Maybe some Stranger Things, maybe some Star Wars. We'll see where it takes us. Definitely more Jujutsu Kaisen though, so if that's something you like, please like, share, and subscribe. But everyone, have a lovely night.